Hello guys. Hello guys. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fifth session of our School of AR. Today we'll be learning about world object with audio, and we have our expert trainer Naveen Upadhyay sir with us. So we'll be handing over the session to him to begin with the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, good evening, guys. Hope you're doing well. And it's been a week. Okay, we're gonna take a couple of minutes for any questions that you have. And did you get your assignments, by the way, already? How are you liking them? If you already got them. Meanwhile, I'm preparing a link for you guys where you can download some assets for today's workshop, and then we're gonna use them to make something interesting. Do we have any questions? I see some of you are very much regular, and I remember your name, like kind of. Um, I remember Chintan, I remember Sahil, I remember Shekhar because of seeing them quite regularly. Sayed as well. Um, so it's good to see you every week and then regularly. I hope you're following well. Varun, I've sent you a link in the comments in the private chat. Could you just forward that in the comments so everybody can download some assets?
Sure, sir.
Hello, Gauri. Hi, Jessica. And so this link, this Google Drive link that Reskill just has shared, just click on this link and let me know if you're able to download those assets. It has a project file which has all the assets imported into it, and we're gonna work with those today. Okay, no questions so far. Then we'll just go ahead with today's session. Good evening, Kush. Very good evening. Okay, sorry, it was like a little troublesome to share these projects. Okay, so today's tutorial is about modifying and animating a 3D object, um, which is also, I'm gonna just for a second mute it, so it's gonna play it all the time. So we'll put this boombox sort of 3D model into the world space. That means inside the plane tracker, and we'll animate the speakers. There are two speakers. It has like a left speaker and the right speaker, and if you see that they're kind of like they're vibrating, and the entire boombox is also becoming larger and smaller. But it makes more sense when I enable the audio. And it also has an interaction with it. If I object tab is something new that you're going to learn today. We have learned screen taps. We have not yet discussed the object tab when we kind of tap on the object. So if I tap on it, there's a new sound. If I tap on it, there's again new sound, and then it keeps changing. So there are like a couple of sound that we are changing. We have. I'm gonna change my image to something else. Um, yeah. So this is, imagine this box probably is, you can put it in somewhere on the street and record some videos like that. So this filter could be expanded to your own imaginations. But for now, we just gonna use this box, and this seems quite reactive. We could I'll have to figure out how to pause it and speak at the same time. But let's figure out what is this individual. There are three audios that you're playing, but they're playing in a way that when the object tap, the one goes smoothly down and the other goes smoothly up. So we never know that which one. There's a very smooth transition between them. So it's so easy that we don't even figure it out, and we have a new audio with it. Our first audio is just like this. Second audio is with a little bit high bump, and our third audio is this. You can have your own audios. Go to the Spark AR libraries and music and sounds, and there are like so many sounds. Couple of 2 second sounds, 5 second sounds, 12 second sounds, like perfect for stories. And these are all Facebook sound design, so you also have like a copyright easily to use them in your filters. And there are like almost 1,000 assets of audios. There are can sprays. There are crickets shouting. There are astral projections, and there are like many harps, pianos. So just like can take some of those assets and try to make something fun with these. There are a lot of 3D objects. Similarly, this boombox is also here. So if you look for boombox, you can find it here somewhere. There are a lot of boomboxes, different kind of boomboxes that you can try to animate and try to work with. And these this is, I think, you're already familiar with. Um, Before we start ahead, thanks, Aman. Thanks for letting me know. It's good that you have imported all the assets. Now you're ready to start with. So I'm also going to open the same project now as you have. This is how the project looks like, where you have a couple of audios imported already into the project and a couple of textures. These textures, they actually come with the 3D model. The textures, they don't make sense like this, but this process is called UV mapping. The how this texture looks and how it looks on the boombox is very different, because let me let me show you quickly. Just to show you, we're not part of the project, but so if you see that, it if I look at the texture and if I look at this, it is not just an image. This is like, it's properly distributed. Where should the speaker be? Where should the buttons be? So if I look at these, that there are the buttons and these are the cassettes I can see. So this one image is having all those textures. So this is called UV mapping. Um, this this entire image goes from 0 to 1 and 0 to 1. This is my UV, and I tell my image to properly map it. Like if I'm from 0 to this coordinate, then this coordinate should be mapped in here. So this my 3D model and my this image, they talk very like, they talk as in we assign them those UVs, we assign those mappings into the 3D modeling tool like Blender or other tools like C Cinema 4D. Blender is open source, so that's what you can also use. So that's how this is getting all the images at the right places. There are a couple of other ways to do it. You could make like different models for everything, put them together, and assign different textures for them as well. But this is very convenient that where you have to just create one image. So I'm going to do is I'm going to put this texture to none. Just click on the texture and just change the properties. Actually, just do for all of the textures. Um, while you, I think we've already discussed about the compression, but you can choose to make it automatic as well. Um, it's your personal preference, and you can also um, compress them outside Spark and import after compressing. So that's your choice how you want to deal with that. Depends on the usage, the kind of clients are going to use your filters. If they live in a rural area, then probably you would want to compress the textures beforehand and like give the minimum size so that they don't have any problem in downloading the filters on their phones while using Instagram. Okay. um, Gonna delete this box, and I'm gonna quickly talk about something that I think is important. I just want to know how you guys are working on your filters. Do you collaborate with each other? Do you talk to each other while if you face a problem? If you let's say when you're learning something new, and this is such a blessing for us that we are learning in a cohort, that we are so many people all together, that we can actually talk about things. We talk about things that we are learning, and it is not just some YouTube video that you're watching and then you don't know what to do except commenting, "Hey, we did not understand this." But here we have a cohort, so many people that are learning together with us. So I highly encourage everybody to, collaborate, collaborate on something, on ideas. Some of you might be good at design part, some of you might be good at logic part. So if you collaborate, you give those learnings to each other, because when you collaborate to talk about things, the person who is let's say a little bit weaker on the design part may learn some things about design. A person who is a creator who is a little bit weaker on the logic part may learn something from the other person. And similarly, like somebody is a good in 3D modeling, and if you don't know 3D modeling, then it's perfect way to collaborate on these things, so that you can exchange those skills and make something very cool. So I encourage everybody to do that. Here everybody is here, and try to connect with each other and try to collaborate and make something real fun. And I, I'm not sure if you have gotten your assignments. Let me know in the comments if you've already gotten your assignments. The assignments are out for the first. It is based on lecture one, which was on particle emitters. Let me show you. I think I can show you the assignment. Wait up. So just want to emphasize that you haven't. Okay. So I'm just gonna show you a little bit of it. I think Asghar will send you when the right time, but I promised you to that we'll discuss in this session a bit about the assignment, because after that. Okay, so this is going to be your assignment. You have to create something that you're kind of on a different planet, and this planet is very beautiful. That it's so beautiful that it always rains there. It never stops raining. There are so many clouds in the sky, and sometimes there's thunder as well. So you have to create that planet in that reality where you have rains in your background, and some of the rain is also in front of you. So these are the learnings that you can take from the session one. And there are clouds as well, which are going across the screen from one direction to other direction, and then those clouds are um, going here and there. So um, figure that out, how to move those clouds. What should you use, a plane? Should you use a rectangle? So work on these things. I have specifically designed this assignment just to kind of get you through those skills that you've learned, because unless try by yourself, you would never never learn something that, the process, because when you go through a process, there are few more things that you learn. I could tell you everything, but there are some things that you learn by yourself when you go through a process. So this assignment kind of combines everything. The only thing that I've not included here is skeleton animation, because that probably I'm going to include in the next one, and everything is included in here. And so then there are some audios. You can add some audios like a thunder effect. If raining, there's you can add some raining sounds as well. Um, for a thunder, for the lightning, you may use PNG sequences. PNG sequences um, are kind of derived from a GIF or from a video, because we can't use videos in Spark AI, so we use like a couple of images and we run them frame by frame. So I hope you're familiar with that. I think one of the tutorials we have already talked about that as well. It was the first one, I guess. And anything. I mean, you may get it by today, the assignment. And once you do, let me know tomorrow if you have any questions, any need any guidance. And then I'm pretty serious. I think they're going to be like prizes on these assignments, like the best one. I'm gonna pick the best one, and there are prizes around these assignments. So all the best, you know. Okay, let's start. The first thing that we're gonna do is like we're gonna add a plane tracker, because we're going to make a world effect, which is that we're gonna place our boombox somewhere into the floor, or somewhere onto the rooftop, or in the street, or somewhere in the market. So I'm gonna add a plane tracker. You can add it anywhere. It is always in the world, so it doesn't matter if it is in the hierarchy or not. So I'm gonna add a plane tracker. This plane tracker, as soon as I add the plane tracker, this automatically shifts to the back camera. So um, after adding the plane tracker, you need to understand what is a parent and what is a child. So something which can have objects inside it. So if I put any objects inside it, then um, those objects will be my child. So if I put a null object inside it, so this is a child of this plane tracker. If I hide this will also be hidden. So, but not the same. If I hide this, the plane tracker won't be hidden. So this is parent and this is child. I'm gonna name this child as a placer, because that's where we're gonna place it. A null object is, it holds nothing. It has no texture, nothing. It's just a object which can hold something. So it's just a holder. Okay. We use null objects to kind of manipulate positions, manipulate rotations, um, for making a single parent to multiple childs. So these are the application of a null object. Then I'm gonna place my import my 3D model to my scene. That is my scene. Now it has become a scene object. Until now, when it was lying in the asset panel, it was just lying there. But now it has become my scene object, because it is into my scene hierarchy. As long as I put it there, it becomes like it is shown on the plane tracker, and I can see it there. And you need to understand that right now there's no animation. We need to make it boom. We need to make it like that. So we need to study it first. So as long as you import any assets, first study them. First process is to check the textures. What are the compression settings? What is the size of the texture? What are the dimensions of the texture? This is the first thing that we do. And once we import it into our scene, then we study it, like what information do we have about this. So when I see that this 3D model is uh, is made of a couple of objects, and this is the center, like, and you can identify like what means what in the 3D model. So if I disable this, the entire model is gone. So this is like a parent of these four things. But this is not, yeah, this is parent for everything. This is also parent for this skeleton, which has like a couple of joints in here. So we'll come to those joints. First is the drop shadow. The drop shadow is that they've made a kind of a plane down there. If you put this on the ground, there will be like a very slight black color, which will feel like it's a shadow. So it gives like a realism to the effect, to the 3D object. It looks nicer. Okay, so it's a very important. Even if you don't have it, that's fine. But if you have it, it's like a very good additional detail to your effect. So we that's the drop shadow, and then we have speaker to the right. This is the speaker to the right. If I disable this, you can see that my speaker is gone, and then you can see that it's back. So this is my right speaker, that's my left speaker, and this is my the boombox entirely. If I remove that, everything was gone, and then only the speakers are there. So I know that now I can play with these three things very much. I can increase the scale using this the entire geo of the box, so I can make it bigger or smaller. For the speakers as well, I can do that, make bigger or scaler, bigger or smaller. So if you notice, all we're doing is scaling at this time. In our previous sessions, we might have played with either positions, either rotations, but this one is suitable for scale because it's like making the speakers like bigger and smaller a little. So how do you make something bigger or smaller is like you change their scale. Then we come to the skeleton. This skeleton has three joints, which is the base, which is the parent to the other two joints. That means that if I move this one, they're gonna automatically move from wherever they are. So if I move this one a little bit, then everything is gonna move because they're like a center of center joint. All right. So and this one is just to the left. So if I move this one, I'm just gonna move the speaker, and the same for the right one. So these are just joints. If you see that the joint is actually centered here, I'm not sure if you're able to see this in the there, but it's actually centered in here. Let me try to make it bigger. So if you see that the these are the joints which are connected together, and then if I increase this, there still be like it will be joint hinged here, and you can kind of move it anywhere. So those can be useful for us to make it move, like the way we want. One more tricky trick I was gonna tell you. Like sometimes we are moving our cursor and we don't know where we are. Then what you can do is you can just put on any scene object that you want to go to and just press F. When you do that, you're automatically like the rotation is not set though, but you can do that. Okay, I'm gonna just make put it back to this original position. Okay, now how do I move these? I can start moving these somehow. Maybe if I want to change the scale of the entire thing, I'll just change this scale of the entire like the placer. That will make everything bigger. But if I have to change something in particular, I will change those scales. I just made it a little bit bigger so that you can see anything changes in here. And now I will bring these joints in the patch editor, and so I know the scale properties of these now. This is the scale of the main middle joint. This is the middle joint. This is the right joint, and this is the left joint. Those are for speakers. Now we have these scales in the patch editor. I hope everybody's following. And let's say if I try to change these scales based on some patch graph animations, and I want to do is a loop animation. If I do this loop animation, if I make a transition, and this transition should be from, like, if I do it from 0 to 1, that becomes like, that is there, but it's like too intense animation. Nobody, no no boombox would do that in a real world. So to kind of keep it little less intense, I'm gonna just make it to from point 0.9, 0.9, and 0.9. So it just like it goes from from a zero point 0.9 size to its maximum size, but it also like goes, but then also it automatically all of a sudden becomes smaller. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mirror it. That means it's going to go bigger, then it's going to come back smaller gradually. And then I'm also gonna decrease the, it takes taking a lot of time, so I'm gonna change this duration to maybe zero point 0.4. Now it's like a little faster. And there's this curve that we talked about last time, so you can take this curve to maybe put something else exponential in and out. This looks like a, it's like it's working out. Maybe we can use a quantic in. It just like, you know, goes like a cubical form. Once it goes, come goes and come back. So it looks better. All right. So this is my base int. I want to animate these speakers as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna copy this, Control C. I'm gonna paste this, Control V, and I see that this is going from 0 0.7. The maximum scale right now is 0 0.7. And if I make it bigger than that, then probably my design is gonna not look good, because if 0.75 is the maximum that the model has given us, of course we can increase it, but it's not gonna look good. But maybe let's say we can increase it to zero point 0.8, but not like bigger than that, because if you try to make it bigger, the design does not look that good. Like 0.85 is like that, and then if you make it like super large, then it's just gonna go out of the bounds. So I'm gonna take this one to maybe zero point 0.6 to zero point 0.8, zero point 0.8, zero point 0.8, and maybe even zero point 0.5 is also okay. And that I'm gonna give to both of my speakers. Right now, just one is dancing. Now they both are dancing, and maybe the animation could be elastic out, but this is too intense. Yeah, it looks like they're speakers, because that's how they, when the bass comes, that's how they become, right? And elastic out looks okay. You can try any, whichever thing you think that making more sense to you. You can try that one. Maybe make it to point two, and the elastic in and out. No, that's not okay. Elastic in sounds good. Elastic out maybe. Yeah. Um, make it to 0.7, 0.7, 0.7. Yeah, looks okay to me, this arrangement. So the scaling animation that we have done, we'll probably come back to it later as well. So how far behind, how, where are we in the progress? Let me know in the comments. Any questions until so far related to anything that we have discussed today? Just put it in the comments. Um, yep. Yes, Pirinder, go ahead. If you have any questions, let me know. Are we following? Have we done until here? Can we change the scale of the mesh? Yes, we can change the scale of the mesh, but it's probably model dependent, because here what is happening? The joints are, they're like tied up with the meshes. So let's say if I try to change this mesh, but boombox geo, if I change to try to scale it, it is not going to work for this particular one, because they are tied up with the joints right now. So it's probably the way you make your 3D model. So it depends. It always depends how you have tied them. So Chintan, I hope that explains your question. And Shekhar says, explain the purpose of the null object. Sure. So the null object is nothing but an empty object. Consider this like an empty object which can which holds nothing and can hold everything. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you bring a 3D model, if you bring a plane, if you bring a rectangle, if you bring a particle system, if you bring a speaker, you can just put anything into that. This is the main property of this null object. It can hold everything and holds nothing. Like nothing can be assigned to it. So let's say this is my test null object, and Shaker, this is your object, and I see that this is centered right where I put it. I can change its position and everything. But the main purpose, I'm going to explain you with a very good example. I'm going to hide this one for now, and let's bring out an earth. Looks fancy. So we're bringing this earth into the test into the scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this earth into this null object. Okay. Now what I see, that's this null, this earth is right in the center, and what I want to do is I want to make this earth rotate around something, like rotate around something. But if I so right now this is my earth, I can also move using my earth's manipulators, but this is child of the main shaker null object. So if I move that's also possible because it's a child of it. Now if I make this earth rotate, let's say this earth, I'm going to create a loop animation and create a transition. So initially I'm at 90. Gonna put it on 90 as well, and then also minus 90. Actually, put it to zero. Put it to zero, and we're gonna keep the initial values to the initial values. We're gonna first figure out how do we want to rotate this Earth. We want to rotate this Earth like this. Okay, we're gonna rotate it like this. All right, this is how we're gonna rotate, and this is when we are rotating like this. It's rotating the y coordinate of it. Okay, so I'm going to bring out this rotation back to the patch editor, put it to zero again, and create an add patch to just to hold the existing rotation onto it, which is minus 90, so that I don't flip them, and I can then add values to it. Okay, and I want to change the not this one. Then I want to change my some rotation to it, and then I'm going to give it to this. So this is currently make it to 360 and 0. So this Earth is now rotating at its own axis. Okay, but my goal is not that. My goal is to move it around and round, like move it around me. So what I can do is I can take this null object, and create another null object in here. I create another null object just to keep it super simple. And yeah, we could do that, Shaker. There are many ways to do things in here. Just whatever sounds good to you, whatever is convenient for you. I'm probably explaining and doing everything because a lot of us don't ask questions and still have doubts. So it's okay. Um, we are now rotating this one, and we created one more null object, and this null object is Chintan null object. And we take this null object, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it for now, uh, click on the manipulators, and I'm going to right now, if you see that nothing is changed, everything is moving the way it was moving. Now I'm going to do is I'm going to move this Chintan null object to a little bit in the x direction. Okay. Before I do that, I'm going to control Z. I'm not rotating the earth now. I'm rotating this Chintan null now. The same thing. I'm going to remove this now, and So it's the same thing, right? Instead of the Earth, I'm now rotating the parent of the Earth. So, but my goal is to rotate, make it rotate, like to cover some distance, not its own axis. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick this Chintan object. I'm gonna pick this Earth object, and then slide it a little bit, a little bit in the x direction. Now it has moved from its original position where the null object is placed, and it has kind of moved a bit into x. So if I'm rotating the null object, this is going to rotate around it. All right. So if I play it, do you understand my point, what's happening here? And if I also, if I want to increase it more and more, I could do this, and this will be like a crazier rotation at its own axis. So this is the main purpose of null objects. You can position them as a parent, as a child, and then manipulate the properties like that. All right. I hope, Shekhar, that's clear. Where did you download this boombox from? I think this is probably, you can find it in the AI library, or if you go in the chat above, there's a link shared by Reskill, and you have the project there, so you can download it from there. Uh, uh, Varun, can we share the link again once more? I think there are a couple of. Yeah, the boombox is super nice. So we can group together a bunch of items using null object. Yep, that's right. I mean, you can have one parent and you can have multiple childs, and also the other way. So you could do that. Yep. Okay, perfect. So I am assuming that everybody is clear until here. How can we rotate around you? Yeah, for that, like, this is a plane tracker object effect. So in the plane tracker object, we're not really looking for that. But if you want to around it you, so let's say you have to use personal segmentation, very very simple thing. So just use a personal segmentation, and um, so when the personal segmentation is here, and put the object in front of you and give it a distance like this, so that it will cover this radius in front of you and also in the back of you. A good application of it, you want to rotate around your head, then you use head occluder, as Shekhar said. But if you want to do that around your body, then probably use personal segmentation. That can work as well. Okay. um, Go ahead now. We're gonna delete this earth. No, can't delete the earth. We're living on the earth, but we're gonna remove it from the project and move ahead. Now, my next task should be to, okay, these null objects are done. My next task should be to bring, to kind of relate to the audios. And I also see there's a problem in this. The problem is that uh, this thing is a little bit blinking, and this is not a good design, good sign for us. If you're working for a client, if a client sees this, whatever you made, he will probably ask you a couple of questions, like, so we can't share something like this to the client, but we'll try to fix it. uh, this is the model problem, but we have a couple of ways to fix it, so we'll fix it. But we'll first focus on the mechanics of the filter, and then let's try to now bring out the speakers, bring out the audios, and work with them how to play those audios. So just click on the. So now um, we just learned about child and parent and everything. So let's also work around those. So we're making a world effect. So whatever we add, like a speakers as well, let's add into the plane tracker. Not necessarily you can add anywhere speakers, kind of like they can be anywhere, because it doesn't matter what is that position. The only thing we care about, what are you playing, what is your audio clip, and what is your volume. The two things. There's nothing else. They don't have a texture, they don't have a position, they don't have nothing. The speakers can be anywhere. But for the sake of like, because we know this is a plane tracker filter, so anything is in the plane tracker. So like, let's say we are working on bigger projects where you want people to switch their cameras, so we can add things above, and this one can contain all the sounds which the plane tracker should have. So I'm going to add a plane tracker as well. I'm going to add a sorry, not particle system. This is going to be a speaker, and we're going to call the speaker as, because the speaker is looping, this audio will be looping, so we're going to say loop 1, and then we're going to just duplicate this one by control D, or you can do control C and control V. Control D is easier and quicker, because control D is for duplicate. Okay. And you can also do right click and duplicate. So this is control D. You can see the shortcuts, control D. For the Mac users, command, and this for the Windows users, it's control D, control C, control V, and also control X. These 4 shortcuts, they work here. Um, these speakers are there, but they don't have any audios right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring them out. Good thing to comment these things. I'm going to comment this to boombox animation, and I'm just going to put it in the side so that I can come back to it later. And now I want to give something to these speakers, so I bring them in. And when you work on projects which has audios, I try to add them at the last, because what happens is when you're working, the audio is always playing, and then you get bored of it, like it keeps playing and something on the loop, and like, so I try to add them like in the end. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll just make the volume to 0, so that even if they're playing, we don't hear them. So um, the audio is given to these speakers, and then when I will give the audio, the volume is set to 100%. So we'll also change that. So these speakers needs audio. That means the audio is going to come from these audio clips. So this is 1, 2, and 3. But this is an audio clip, and this thing does not directly take audio clips. This audio clip has to be played into a player. So we have an audio player, like audio player in the patch library. So we need that audio player, and this is a clip, right? So this can go into the audio clip. Okay. Now we need a controller. Like, when do we play this? Like, how do we play this? Do we play it on loop? Do we play it once? How many times do we play it? So we need a controller. So there are 2 types of controllers: single clip controller and multi-clip controller. For this one controller is going to control one audio. So we're going to use a single clip controller. And this controller is going to control this. All right. So this is my one audio setup. So I made it for 1. I'll select this. I'll select both of these, control C and control V. If you do control D here, so what it's going to do is it's going to keep the connections also, but I don't want to have those connections. My connections are going to be new. So I'm going to just copy these and paste. And once you've already copied, I can just paste now. So my setup will be like, my audio 2 will be given to this one, and my audio 3 will be given to this one. Quite neat and clean. We know that everything is in line, and then looks quite good. All right. Okay. Then we need a something to play these guys. We need a pulse. We need a pulse to play these, because all the inputs this is also a pulse. This is stop is also a pulse. This loop is also a pulse. If I put it, if the mic into the play, then it's gonna play only once. But if I put it on the loop, then it's gonna play forever. And as soon as I connect it, it should be playing. Oh, okay. It should be playing when this pulse is true. So if I put it true, it started playing, right? But I'm gonna put it off for now. So if you just give that, this just needs one pulse. If I give it one, it doesn't matter after that, what's happening with this. because this is gonna put on loop. If you turn it on once, the pulse is gonna go and it's gonna keep looping and keep looping, keep looping. But also, if you turn this on and if you reload your filter, it's gonna always start from zero. Like it's gonna start playing when you start the filter. So this also we're gonna copy to other things as well. Why are we doing this pulse? Why not some interaction? Is that you are free to do some interaction if you want to do screen tap, if you want to do something else. But our filter is like that. Like if you open the filter, it just out there in the world, and it's playing the music. And the next thing that we want to do is like if you click on the if you tap on the object that is my boombox, then we're going to do something. And these logics can be anything, like if for this filter we don't have head tracker and stuff, like face tracker and stuff, but if you have those things, then probably when you blink, do something. If you rotate your head, then play this. If you rotate has, so these can be like those logics. That's why we have them here. So this controller will control this player and play the audio in the speaker that is there. Why do we need three speakers? Because we have three audios. We can't really like combine these, like add together. We need, if we have three audios, then we're gonna combine. We gotta like have them. And also like our effect is like that if I object tab, then one audio should gradually become to zero and should not play, and the other audio should go. Then we can't do that for the same speaker, right? So we need different speakers for this. And yeah, quite neat and clean. I think we have, if I turn them on, all of them, and start my filter, every one of them gonna play. Okay, any doubts so far? Anything that you're not clear about? Because now we're gonna create some logic how to adjust that volume so that everything is not all together and becomes like messy. Because right now it just everything plays at once, and we don't want that. We want to add some interaction to it. Any questions? Shoot them. Meanwhile, I want to tell you something about. Um, Let me, how to convert a MP3 to M4A, because this is like these files are .m4a, and what if you want to play some music that you like. Somebody wants to play Diljit Doshant, and somebody wants to play some, maybe Britney Spears or whoever artist you like. So how do we do that? How do we import those musics? So let me, I hope some of you already know, but if you don't, then this is the way to do it. We go to, there's a link that I'll just share with you guys. This is a good converter here. So what you do is you go to this link and you open a file, uh, any MP3 file that you want to put in here, and that MP3 file that you open, that you have to upload first, and you are converting that to M4A. And once you convert that to M4A, then you go to the advanced settings and you just change it to single channel, because Spark doesn't support mono channel. So okay, thank you. So you have to make these channels as mono. Like don't do this two channels, and always the sample rate has to be 4400, 44100, and this can be, I think, maximum 196 or something, but not too much. 192 maybe. 160 is good. Don't change this. Keep the sample rate at 44 100 and channels to 1. This should be the always the setting whenever you're converting mp3 file to, you know um, do I have some mp3 files with me? Let me check. I do have some files, but yeah, maybe for the example, I can just upload it. So this is like a people cheering, applauding. I used it for a game, and then when the game ends, when the player wins, and everybody start applauding. So this was the .mp3 file. Notice that this is a 13-second duration, and it is 513 KB. And notice the size after conversion; it becomes quite small. So that's why they use the .m4a and mono channel. So I'm gonna change the settings to 44 100 and channel one. This comes after you click on the advanced settings, and once you do that, I can just click on convert, and it just takes no time. I can download it, and this is downloaded, and this the size has become .m4a. The size has become, sorry, 260, which is like almost half. Has become 260. So what I'm gonna do is another thing is that always rename it. Like sometimes they put like the audio converter online, and these things Spark don't accept. So always rename it to something else like cheering crowd, something like that. And I'm gonna import that to our project now by just simply clicking on by just simply clicking on the plus and import, go to the downloads, and then just sharing crowd. And the file is here. And if I want to play this file, I can just simply test it. It's working. And then the process is same as other audio clips. Now this can be played. And I don't want to play other two. Okay. So this is just an example how to convert an MP3 file to this. Maybe let me share this link with you guys. This is a very trustworthy tool that you can use. There are many converters, but this one is trustworthy, as in it gives you good compression and stuff, so you don't have any problems on different kind of devices. Like sometimes some audio doesn't play on Android, some audio doesn't play on iPhone, so you can just get rid of those issues. Yeah, any converter is good, but like there are so many devices, and so whenever you convert something to some other format, be it audio, be it video, be it images, anything, there are some codecs that work behind it. Like, okay, this is going to convert to this, so there are some operations, there is some method that people use for that conversion, and some people are good at it and some people are not. So it's better to hang around and work with good people rather than people who have issues, or rather than software who have issues. So this is well tested, and because I had a very trusted tool that I used to work with, and for some of the Android devices, the audio was not playing, in the middle, some conversion issues. So I then switched to this tool, and this is working well. I have also shared this in the private chat. Varun will share this with you soon, the link. All right. Okay. I think Blink should be in the top green section. What is Blink? Top green section. Do we have top green section? Blink. What's the? I'm sorry, I don't understand your question, but maybe just write it down again. I'll read it. Will any convert be good enough? Yeah, I think so, but just try to get a good one, like this one. You can use this one, or if you are a programmer, then you can write your own as well. It's not that hard. Actually, there's a ff ffmpeg. There's a library which converts these all media files to one from another. So whoever makes these tools online, they also use some lines of code and just host it online. So you can also make your own website, and people can use that. It's a very simple, like 5 or 6 lines of code that you can do. um, Okay. How do you get different backgrounds in emulator? I think, Shikhar, we answered your question. earlier, but okay. So how do I get it? I click on the video, and then there are like couple of backgrounds here, and then I just select them. I also have my own background, which I recorded myself, and I was in a very bad shape. Look at me, I'm like angry on something, but there are many. There are three people. If you want to test like three face trackers all together, there's this. I think I got inspired from her for my video, and then there's this. If you want to like move your head a little bit, head right or left, like that. How do I get them? Uh, there's this website called pexels.com. Pexels.com. Go to this website and um, write something which makes sense to you, like you know, like head rotation or waving hand if you're using hand tracker, like something like that. So if you do that, so let's say I have two hands here, I click on two hands, then I see all the videos which are having two hands. um, or I can just say maybe people, just people, as people talking or people walking, whatever. And if I do that, I select my filters and I tell the orientation to be vertical because we're going to use to with our phones, so we want vertical videos. And you find plenty of videos there that you can download. Okay, so then you want to download them, they will be like .mp4 files. So let's download one of them. uh, let's download this guy, look cool. And is it a video, is it an image? It's an image. Don't want this. So I think we need to select another thing. We want videos, we don't want photos. And when we go here, oh, this guy is wearing a mask, and there is no use of this inside our filters, because if you wear a mask, you can't detect a face. So this one I already have. Most of them I've like worked with. I'm trying to find a new one. People, this looks good. I'm gonna go to her and just free download. Just click on free download, and you can kind of see that this is a little bit of like 6-second video. Ideally, it's okay. And if I click on download, it's gonna be like 17 MB. So just download it, and it downloads as .mp4 extension. Okay, maybe you can't see because of the thing, but it is a .mp4 extension. So you need to change it to .webm first, which means we're gonna go to a converter which can convert it. So there's a video converter online, video converter, and I also have like convert to Webm. So just like video converter convert to Webm. Also gonna drop this link to you guys. And once I go here, I can just choose my file that I want to convert, download it, and just start the conversion when it's ready and upload it. And you don't have to change any settings. Just let it upload and start downloading. And once you do it, it's going to give you a .webm file. It's all right. I mean, it's okay. Everything is in scope when it comes to we are a community anyway. So, but yeah, I want to make sure that you complete your assignments very honestly, because yeah, learn something, learn it like fully hearted, work with it, try to create your imagination into this tool. It's a good tool. Since I've started working, I don't remember I've taken like a 7 days off or something, because I've been creating something all the time. um this is good. This looks like it already starts downloading, and it has downloaded. Now what I have to do is I have to go back to my tool and click on this plus icon. So first thing, to click on this video, then click on this plus icon. All right, you can see that, right? And then click on this .webm file that I just downloaded, and this file would be right here, as you can see this. And same thing you can do with your own videos. Just record your video how you want it to be, and just put it, convert it to .webm and just import it here. As you can see, it's just a simulator. Let's use it for today. It looks nice. Okay. Uh, okay, I think we're done with the okay. I think Seeker, it is a simulator. It is not an emulator, but I think I understood your question right, and I've answered it. Now we want to change the volume of these three audios to play at once, like one audio at once, and other two audios should not work. So what we can do is we can have a counter. Okay, before getting the counter, the new thing that we're going to learn today, we have learned about screen tap. Okay, and the screen tap. Okay, and the screen tap is something which is, when you screen tap, it's going to give a pulse. Like if I put a counter here, and if I see that this counter is going to increase, this counter is going to increase if I screen tap, because on every screen tap, this is going to give an increase, a pulse to this increase function. And when I do that, it's going to keep increasing until the maximum value. The maximum count is 5, so it won't reach 5. Is when I click again, it's going to go to 0, because jump to number 0 when the count is over. And just a moment. Okay, this is done. This is screen tap. And what is object tap? What is the difference between these two? Is that screen tap is, for a screen tap, the entire screen is an object. So it will consider the entire screen as an object. But for a particular object, let's say, so there are two ways to create an object tap. One is that you click on the object itself, like I want to create an object tap for this. Then you go to the interaction in the properties and just click on create. When you click on create, it will ask you, what do you want to create? Do you want to create an object tab, or do you want to create a producer patch? Producer patch is just like ping patch, okay, which can also be imported like this, like if you just bring it here, the same thing. um, other thing is that the object tab, so what it does is that create the producer patch and adds a object tab to it. Okay, so another way how I do it, these things are there, but I never noticed this. What I do is that object tab, I look in the patch library, the object tab is, so my patch is here. Now which object should be tapped? This is similar to, like, everything is similar to screen tap, but it just has like which object, and it's just like entire screen. And then enabling, and that is similar, it is also giving you a pulse, same thing. So I'm going to take this out, the producer patch, and this object, when I tap this object, maybe increase this counter, not on a screen tap. Now if I tap on this object in the simulator, it is going to increase. You can see the number, it's increasing. If I tap on the screen, nothing happens if I tap on the screen, but if I tap on the object, then it happens. So let's say if I have one more object, then I can have two counters and kind of compare, like, where user is actually tapping, which object is user is tapping to. So couple of applications of this can be like, if a particular object is tapped, then maybe make that particular object bigger. If any other is tapped, then make that one bigger. One of the good examples application that I found of this was, I made a filter where there were earrings in the ear, and if you want to resize those earrings, then you can like just tap which earring you want to resize, and you tap on it, then you can resize it and just tap it back to like just not resize anymore. So many applications of object tap also can be like you're playing Fruit Ninja, something like that. So which object to cross, which object to burst when you touch it, when you tap it. So those applications can be useful for object tap. So it is different from screen tap and useful as well. So we're gonna use this interaction, and we're gonna say that if this object is tapped, and then if you tap once, then play audio one. If you tap it again, then play audio two. If you again, then play audio three. And we have just three audios. So maximum number that we want to go is three. Okay, this will give us values number zero, value number zero, value number one, and value number two. So if I tap this, I can see that I'm going from zero to one, one to two, and back to zero. All right. Okay, that I got these numbers, but what can I do with these numbers? What do I do with these numbers? I do with these numbers is that I now create an option picker, and this option picker, I'll create three option pickers, okay, for each audio. Okay, number one, number two, and number three. And I will say that my initially when everything is zero, so this option picker, yeah, thanks Jessica. So your option picker are like number option zero, like this option takes the index of the value that are down there. So basically if there are like 1 2 3 values, so if you notice this value which is coming out of this option picker. If I option number 0, and this is 1, this is 2, this is 15, this is 25, this is 30, and this is 10. Okay, and if I see my option 0 right now, this is 0th index. So the 0 index is showing me this. If I make my option number 1, then number value at number 1 is gonna output of this option picker. If I do the number 2, then it's 25. If I do number 3, then it's 30. So this is the main logic behind the option picker. Now the maximum, we have three audios anyway. So the what we can do is I can just create it to have like just three inputs. We don't require anymore, and we will initially will just be at 0, and we'll make these two as well the similar like this. Okay, and this one Control C, Control V, and Control V again. So this is the option picker that we have, and what we're gonna do is create these values to in here. So whatever option, so if I have option number 0 selected, then this option picker is working. If I have number 1, then this option picker, actually it's gonna go to all the options, but which value we're gonna decide is that we're gonna test. So if we have 0 and then put it to 0.5 in the option number 1, in the option number 2 put 0.5, in the option number 3 put 0.5. Why am I doing this? Is that, check this out, okay? If I object tap, right now we are at 0, that means its output is 0.5. This is outputting 0 and this is outputting 0. That means I can change these values, change the volume of these guys based on the output of these option pickers. So if my option is 0 right now, that means my loop 1 at volume 0.5 and other loops are volume 0, which means they're not going to play. If I click on it, then my second one becomes at 0.5, my third one becomes 0. If I click again, then my rest of the two becomes 0 and this becomes 0.5. So this is the main logic behind creating these option pickers. And again, but so let's try to, I mean, if you have enable them all at once. Right now number 1 is playing. Now number 2 is playing. Now number 3 is playing. But that was not a smooth transition of the values, because it is at 0.5 and all of a sudden it goes to 0. So what we do for this is we use an exponential smoothing, and the exponential smoothing, maybe what it does is that it takes things gradually down, and this, and gradually down or gradually up, like the change is exponentially increasing, like a little bit slower than like just going from 0 to 0.5. So from it will just like go in a curve a little bit. So I'm going to copy this again, and edit. I'm going to copy and paste this again, and then so basically I just added a smoothening in the middle, like just don't go 0 to 0.5 but gradually increase. So now if I do that, notice the values. This zero point 0.5 would not directly go to 0. It will take some time. And also notice this. Notice these, both of these values, okay? They take some time to gradually increase and decrease. Well, that's done. And there's one more thing about these durations. How do I decide these durations? Um, so you can be technical about it, like how do we actually decide like what duration we should pick, or so these music audios right now, as there are 85 bpm, bits per minute, I think bpm, yeah. So if I have this value as a, not value, right, divide my 60 seconds, divide number, if I divide 60 by 85, what I'm doing is I am dividing the entire 1 minute, okay, by 85. That is my BPM. This is my 85 per second, right? This is my uh, so I'm taking that duration here because this is going to be, and if I divide it by two, then that's going to be even smaller, and yeah. So now nothing's gonna change, but maybe a little bit of change in the, we use it here and use this one here. Yeah, just gonna make more sense with the music. Although there are a couple of things like audio analyzer, and there are other things as well which can be used to manipulate these things, which if we have time we can also come to. But I think we have a session for them, maybe I have to check. Okay, I think this was a very pretty simple and conceptually filter. We could do a couple of things as well, but any questions, let me know. What will you happen if you create an object type for the placer or the null object? Okay, it will detect it. It will detect it. It's a very good question, Aman. Very, very good question. You should come up, all should come up with questions like this, because an object which holds nothing, can it be tapped? Of course, it can be tapped. So if I take it out, instead of my boombox, I just use this here. So I'm removing my boombox and I'm putting this placer. And so, should this work? Why not? You can check this value is changing. This would work, definitely would work. Null object holds nothing, and because this is just a producer patch, like if you tap the object exists, right? So this object's boundaries becomes everything that is inside in here. So like if this boombox, wherever this boombox will go maximum, this null object's boundary will become like that. Okay, so these can do that. Oh, I hope, Aman, that's clear. Can we use the depth capability to create this effect with audio? Do you mean the depth capability which is recently introduced in Spark, like the depth map? Are you referring to the depth map? And using the depth map to um, okay, I think I understand your question. I understand your question because what you want to do is probably how far I am from something, that is depth, correct? And when it comes to textures, sorry, I'm just gonna, yeah, just wanted to do some hand gestures. Okay, so when it comes to textures, we talk about depth, like how far are we. If there's a fog in the scene, then what is the maximum visibility we can see? Then probably we'll use the depth map for that. But for a sound you don't really have to uh, need you don't have to work with the depth map, like texture wise. You have to work with the depth. What you can do is you can use the camera distance, like you're holding your phone, and how far are you from an object can give you a camera distance. The distance can give you that. The closer you go, the closer you go to the object, the louder you listen to. Yeah, yeah, that's correct. You got it right. And so the closer you go, and then this could be like the camera distance, and we have this camera distance patch in here. This is by default. Camera is like where my phone is, that's where my camera is. And how to work with this is that I'll take my placer object, or boom animation, sorry, this animated object, and I'll use this object to find the camera distance. So right now I see that I'm 1.6 meter away from it. So let's do this, that you're 1.6 meter away. And if I go near, like, give me this value. And how do I go in a plane tracker near to something is I think we can test it like this. We can move the object like that. So to do that, we need to change the values. Like right now, whatever distance are you at, um, as you go closer, as you come closer, this is going to decrease. So initially, let's say my volume is at, so I'm going to change my volume 1. So initially my volume should be at at initial distance of this. Let's say we put it to 1.6 itself. So we know that initially we are at 1.6, 1.68, or maybe 1.6. So we hear like a little bit, and 1.68. So we got to do it the other way. Subtract 1.6 from it. Now we got to do other way. 1.7 to this, and to this. So right now my volume is like almost nothing. I'm gonna make it visible. My volume is nothing, but if I move this object closer to the camera, oh, sorry, I'm moving the speaker, this object boombox to the near to the camera, this works. Yep, this works. Okay, yep. Any I think we are actually done with the concepts today, and then I think everybody was so conveniently done, and like following and well with questions and everything, that we are kind of finished for this tutorial. So go ahead and ask me some questions from previous sessions, anything that you're struggling with. So we will just take those questions one by one. Uh, and Thank you so much, Jessica. I'm glad I make you understand. Just my entire family is a teacher. Like my mom is a teacher, my dad is a teacher. So thanks to those, if I've got those skills. So and um, let's try to fix the like. Feel free to give some questions, because we're kind of done with the concepts today. We were like quick on this. It was very easy to make you understand because everybody has been following, so we didn't have to like start everything from basics. But feel free to post your questions, and we can take them. Meanwhile, I'll try to fix that issue that we talked about. And the issue was that this was moving a bit. If you see that there's something wrong with that thing, it's showing something, it's not showing at the same time. Like it's a little bit of clipping, if you notice there, right? So let's find out what is the mesh for it and what is the material for it. So this is part of, I think, yep, this is the part of the geo. And as far as I can see, this has a material called boombox mat, and this boombox mat has a replace. So we're first gonna put it to alpha and use an alpha test. It's not gonna probably work, but this is probably happening because it is kind of colliding with something. This is called a Z depth issue. This we call it Z depth issue. So let's find out what is that might be colliding with it. It's not the shadows. Shadows are fine. Is it the speakers? Speakers are fine. They're okay. Is it anything else? No. Oh, it's inside the boombox itself. And what else can? Is it any bones? No. What can combine with it? What can cause this issue to us? If it is not depth, if it is not boombox, then okay. I think boombox are math. That means we have to take this particular boombox geo and just put it a little forward. No, the skeleton geo. hmm No, none of them. I think it's a problem of anti-aliasing. I think anti-aliasing is like if something is too small, the tend to it's not Z fighting. So I'll take that back. Z fighting happens when there are two two objects very close to each other, almost in the same position, and their render order kind of tries to become first, like there, because they're the same render order, and they the, the rendering of them in the 2D screen becomes sometimes confused, like which one to show first. So what they do is that they keep clipping sometimes, so they create a little bit of artifact. So we try to avoid that. So but this is not that thing. This is probably I think there is something that can fix. Let's try. It's again, I'm just taking a long shot. This might be something related to the filtering. If you go to the MIP for the texture one, or the filtering to hide in here. Yeah, this is probably some anti-aliasing issue, and comes with the texture. Think. So this is the render only render problem, because originally if you see in here we don't see that issue. So this is probably some rendering issue. All right, can you explain about the latest update on Spark Air Studio? Which one are you talking about? The latest one? Any particular patches that you want to talk about? Any particular capability? Because there are a couple of updates these days in the scripting modules and the depth capabilities. There's a new feature called depth uh, depth map. Like you kind of have a depth into the scene, so you can occlude objects. Something can be behind the TV, like a 3D object can actually be behind the TV, and just like those things can happen. Can you explain the new audio capabilities on Spark AR 136? Sure. Matlab, we can try and work with them. Uh, I haven't really, made anything on these capabilities, but I think there's something which came with a pitch shifter. So, pitch shifter is like, let's take some audio. What is the input that it takes? It takes an audio as an input. So, let's go to our this thing, and audio is this one is the audio. So I gave this audio to this guy, and this is my thing. And notice the difference. No difference now, but yeah, it just shifting its pitches. And okay, so pitch shifter, it just pitch shifts the pitch of something, like pitch is something. A male has a lower pitch of volume, a female has a higher pitch of the volume. It's not about the loudness, like how loud is it. It's about the pitch. It's about the scale of volume, like how we sing, how we speak. Some people, they are very low, like very low volume, low pitch, like it's very hard to hear them. Not because of the loudness, again, it's because of the pitch of the voice. So that this is the pitch shifter. If you have a better audio, like probably you can also use a microphone as an audio. Use a microphone as an audio and use it in a loop one, and the microphone should give me a live preview and says the headphones are recommended, but let's try it. And I see that the volume is controlled by this. Hello. Hello. Okay, it's just paused. Hello. Oh, because the microphone is disabled. No, it's not disabled. Hello. Hello. Yeah. So this is just the pitch. You see that the volume that started like on a higher pitch, like scale higher scale, like ekdam tansen type. So it is kind of increasing the scale on a higher level. So this is what the pitch shifter do. And what else? Me, let me see. There was a bit crusher. Bit crusher also, like it creates a robot type of. There was a mic echo. It happens that was they recommend to use an earphone. Let's use an earphone. no problem. Like the mic echo was there, but the only thing to notice from there was to notice the pitch. It just changes the pitch. I hope it's better from this one. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so I hope it's fixed now.
I'm sorry to interrupt you in between, sir, but I think your StreamYard mic is muted.
Thanks for letting me know, Varun. This was some changing of devices, and thanks for letting me know. All right. I hope it's fixed now. Is it all right?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible now.
Okay. Thanks, Varun. So the microphone is something that you can test with probably on Instagram. Like you can send your effect to Instagram, and then because this is a this is a computer setup and probably is not yet suitable for this test. So let's just use this audio from this clip for this testing. And if you bypass something, that means if you bypass something, that means you're not using any settings from this. So they use the bypass. Why a bypass option is given? Why not just delete this when you're not using it? Is because if you have seen some setups where like musicians they play like a bigger instruments, they have all these settings like bit crusher, they have all those they just keep plugging and stuff. So they have all these settings right there, like what sampling and how many bits they're sampling it at. So it's a good thing that like sometimes like when you just don't want to use this, but other times you want to use this. So if you delete this, you also delete all the settings. So there's a bypass always there, like okay, don't use this function for this while. So this bypass is always there. I think this bit crusher is probably going to give you a robotics voice or something. So if you bypass this, just notice because it's hard to speak and like pause it and speak. So just try to notice the change that's happening when I'm changing the values. what we'll be having like a weekend today. We yeah. So it's a just a couple of tools that you can probably try using these values. I think it's there's no way that I can teach you this like what are these things, but because I'm not a musician, but I understood this, like just try it in front of you, that this is something which is changing the pitch. This is something which is making things like crushing it a bit, not really like a robot did, but it sounds like a robotic pitch because that's how the robot speaks. They crushed it. And no, Maz, this is not necessary. You don't have to use iTunes. There's nothing like that. There's no restrictions. There's nothing that you need except Spark AR to work with Spark AR. Yeah. Um, what other audio patches that we have? I remember I tried them one day, and remember that some of the audio capabilities are not they're not supported on Facebook, but supported on Instagram. There's this denoiser is good for like if this environment has like a lot of noises, and then it just like it can denoise it up to a extent so that maybe vocal things are more focused and the noise becomes like down. And if you're making something like which requires user to speak, then use a noise denoiser patch. That would be great. We will use this today just now. And there's this distortion as well, so we'll bring this on also. And what else we have? Oh, parametric equalizer. I think this was already there. This is a really good patch, this parametric equalizer. And let's also try to work with it. um, Okay, so we've tried these out. We're gonna try the denoiser now. So without the denoiser, if it is bypassed, my voice looks like a okay. And then if you go to like 200, so this denoiser patch, this goes like from 0 to 100. If you put this to 0, this is almost bypassing it because then it's actually not working. And if you put it like 100, this is the maximum smoothness that it can give you. So this is like probably the most rough, and this is the maximum denoise that it can give. If you go beyond it, then it doesn't gonna matter. The 100 is the maximum amount of going from 0 to 100. You can increase the smoothness of the surroundings. So if you just try to notice. Okay, that was denoiser. So maybe put this value to like 50. It's a good amount. I think. Instagram has I think this patch. So if you make some reels, if you make some if you record yourself singing or something, the Instagram has this capability. Like there's this effect where you can become like a robot, or we can become like you're growling, or you're like you there's a voice effect which makes your voice to like vocals. Like it's called vocalist. I just didn't like Instagram effect by Instagram only. I think they use the same patch and they released it very recently. So now you can make your own like yeah, this can be your own. And I'm assuming the way because I've used that vocalist filter by Instagram. I think that it doesn't really work that much. Their value is probably around 70 or 75. So you can like work with it. Distortion after our so we have kind of denoised our audio, and then we're trying to distorted. Okay, the way this distortion patch works is that you can have some drive and some gain. uh, it's called, I think, ASDR. There are like four terms in sound, sound system. It's called A is attenuation or sentence. I'm not sure like the full form. This one of them is drive or one of them is gain. Like these things are there. They that's how they mix and make music. So quite technical in those terms. But just try to find out about these terms. Like if you really like, this is to Sandesh or everybody, if you really like to work with audio capabilities, you can make many things, because this is almost like a mixing tool. Like couple of minutes ago we were just playing that audio and we were just trying to make those values. And if you, let's say, if you use a loop animation, and if you use, like these values, you don't want to change them like one by one or something, but it can be something that can be an interaction. How to make an AR, just like Jessica asked a question, like how do we use the depth, and why not just um, go to near to an object and make it louder. So why not, if we do that, like if you go near to an object, if somebody blinks something, then increase those values, make somebody robot, like make somebody speak like robot. So those values you can just change, like using a loop animation or something like that. So maybe just try out these patches, play around with the values, and then you'll understand what that they mean. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions? I think audio patches are something that probably you gotta like play with more and more. Yeah, and make some great effects. Like if you wanna like really work around with these, try to make like some audio visualizer, like where things are working. Um, where you have like couple of bars, and the bass changes something, drums changes something. So try to figure out those frequencies, like what frequency means a bass, what frequency means drums, what are those things. Like if you really want to get into the audio things, then try to figure out those values by yourself, because this is something that the people find out by themselves, and then that becomes their own intellectual property. So try to work on that. Any more questions, guys? Yeah, the most important part of the session, that is attendance link, is here. So, but still, if there are any more questions, let me know. Um, uh, the same, to the same link where you downloaded the file today. I'm going to upload one more file, which is the finished project. So if you want to have a look, that will be there for today's. I'm gonna share that link now. All right, on the same link that you downloaded the assets today, the same link has a fully finished project, so you can refer it to later on. Although this was like today was like a quite simple project, I think everybody understood, and trying to make something like that you want. Okay, I'm done for today. I remember the last time we extended like 5 minutes, so we're compensating today. Anything? All right, Varun. Over to you. If not any more questions, guys.
Sir, I think that we have a question from Sandesh Bhatt. He asked, is there any device requirement for depth effect and hand tracking?
Yes, there is. For depth, you need a capability called lidar. It's basically that lidar. What it does is that it shoots lights from its sensors everywhere, and it reflects back, travels back in a very short time, and the time taken between uh, uh, those small durations maps like how far an object is. So the lidar is something that if any phone has lidar, then they have like you can work with the depth capability. For hand tracking, it just I think some of the devices they've started which were not earlier working, but I can't say that this device would work or this Android would work or iOS would work, but there's a list of those devices that you can go on the official website, like which one would work and which would not. So you can just find that out. How can I create distortion in personal segmentation like wavy form? Hmm. Okay, so you want to create a distortion in like a wavy form. Distortion that's like a higher, that's a distortion. So yeah, create something, some create a wave and just pass it to the distortion texture. There's a there's a distortion texture in here. This question is from Shaker. Okay, Shaker, if you remember in the in the one of the tutorials we were discussed about how to create distortion, and we discussed about this patch, and um, also creating your own distortion patch. So consider this is your distortion patch, and this distortion patch, we're just gonna talk about this one for now. This distortion patch has your
So can you please share your screen?
okay,
I'm sorry.
no worries, no worries. It's I thought closed it. All right, so this distortion patch is there in the library, and what you do is you take your camera texture. I'm going to delete this plane tracker, we don't need it. um, we're going to have our camera texture, uh, but you want the camera texture like this, and this should output me a rectangle which could just yeah, so we need a distortion texture also. So for now, let's use the same texture so that this goes the error. I'm still here. Cool. So if I distort myself with myself, then this is what I get. So basically, this is basically I'm distorting my camera texture by my own camera texture, but this is not something that I want to do. I have to. give it some other. So can you create something which moves like a wave? So first of all, you also wanted this to in a personal segmentation. So we also take out the segmentation of this guy and take out the segmentation, and I'm gonna I'm gonna take this as an RGB to pack this RGB and then take the alpha. No, I was just gonna multiply these two. Okay, multiplying would give us the alpha, I think. Yeah. So if I multiply this with the alpha, my camera texture with the alpha of my segmentation texture, I get my personal segmentation. There are a couple of ways to do it. I told you one way already, so this is another way to do it. And this texture can be now my so my distortion will always be on my hands on my personal segmentation, but I want to make something which is wavy. So I need to create something which is wavy. Okay, so how can I create something which is wavy? I can have SDF what? Wave stiff line or stiff line can work. Yeah, so I'm gonna change this offset now. I'm gonna change this offset of this X. So I'm gonna take a loop animation, and this loop animation should give me a number which I'm gonna pack as vector 2, and where X coordinate is this and my Y coordinate should always be fixed at zero point 0.5. And if I give that, I think I'll have a wavy animation. Does that sound good? Does that answer your question? Now you can modify it. This is the basic concept. Like why do I get it? You can ask me that. Why? How does it work? How does it work? Is that I have this line which is going from like this, but you can have a line which is going like this. You can have a line which is going diagonally like this. So you can create your um, own like own line of textures that can you can use to distort it. So now my personal segmentation is distorting, not anything else. So um, two key points. If it's a good question, Shaker, like don't hesitate to ask us such questions, because um, these questions you could have to like probably work a lot to figure out, and someday you will able to do it by yourself as well. But it's good to have these questions, because that's the starting to have questions to try out something. So a couple of things to notice here. The way you created the segmentation texture is a new way to do it, so you can do it like as well. And this way we can also like we can control this alpha, and then sometimes there's a clipping like uh, not properly coming, so we can like kind of mask it, like make it sharper rather than like there's a blurriness here, so you can make it like sharper after subtracting or multiplying something. And that is your homework, Shaker, that you have to try, like make something with it that you can kind of control the length of the personal segmentation. Like maybe I'm chopped off from shoulders, like I'm not coming entirely. So your trick is to work with this alpha before you multiply it with the camera texture. So do something here, and then yeah, you can do that. This goes from 0 to 1, and yeah, you can increase the size of it also. Like, just can work like that as well. Can also change the normals. If I make this 1, then it's diagonal, and also if I make it 0, this is gonna, I think, gonna go. Then I have to change the y instead of x, so it can go like this. And if I do a smooth step, a smooth step is a function to kind of cut out the line. Then you can probably create a sharper, like a sharper thing, like rather than, like, you know, it's almost feel like Harry Potter is taking out your, not Harry Potter, like the Voldemort, no, Visage. They used to do this. Your body will come out, soul will come out. Yep. Oh, that's great. That's great. Underwater effect. Yep. Underwater effect. Yep. You can certainly use this. Also, I'll give you a hint. When you're making underwater effects, uh, there's a sun over the water, and the sun rays come under the surface also. So they make a formation of the ground. They the formation is called caustics. 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 Try to search about it. Caustics. If you can make those caustics using this distortion as well. You can make a like a plane on the ground, and then make that texture like caustics. It is going to give such a nice depth to your effects, a nice detailing to your effect. So that's good. That all right, your doubt is clear. um, how did you create that? What texture did you use? There's no texture. Are you talking about the distortion texture? Distortion texture is just this SDF line, which is just giving me a line. If you check this line here, shader enterprise. Yeah, so I'm kind of moving that line from top to the bottom, and that's how I'm getting it. If I make it a little bit smaller, like maybe point 0.01 or 0.01, because of this is quite big and also big. So how can I can use STF scale for now, and if I do that, I make it to zero point 0.2, zero point 0.2. Then there's a line that can pass through like that. Oh, okay. There's a STF complement that I had to take. About the STFs, don't get these are a little bit. There's a little bit not so complex effects, but kind of just SDFs are like maybe new to you guys, I know, but try to play with those patches in here. I have a tutorial on YouTube, by the way, on SDFs, so you can just try searching that. Maybe can give you a link. It's okay. I think I should not promote myself like that, but you can just find my YouTube link and then see that.
So, sir, I think the time's up. Let's not extend the session. Uh, am I audible?
Yeah, yep, yep, you are.
So that's all. Like, I think let's wrap up with the session. We are done with almost all the doubts you have taken, and I can see that the chat section is flooded with thank you for the session, and you explain each and everything so nicely. Like, students are loving the way you were explaining the things. You explain the difficult most concepts as well with so ease that each and everyone was able to grasp the topics that you told. So, guys, stay tuned with us. Tomorrow as well, Sir is going to come and teach some new topic, and we are going to continue with this journey. So, for today, let's wrap up with the session, and we'll meet soon. You all will be getting the links for all of those who have registered for this, and we'll be learning some more insightful sessions. So, thank you, Naveen sir, for taking out your time on weekend and contributing to some community and for the learning of community folks. We really thank you for coming here. It was pleasure hosting you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.